Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yup. What's good, original crew?
Okay, come back.
I had to get on the organ. We're going to church today. You tell by the title, man.
My goodness.
It's your boy DJ New Kid, your girl.
Sierra Nicole.
We back on the channel with another
Kid and C original.
Touch you. No, the nigga on. Welcome back to the channel. What we got today for you, man, is another TikTok story time. This should be wow. Hopefully y'all got some good ones, bro. Cause hey, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen happen in church? I know y'all got some good ones, bro. I know y'all got some good ones too. So hit us up in the comments. I'm ready for this one, bro. Woo. What's the craziest thing you've seen? Bruh, I done seen this. I done seen people lash out ready and like go at the pastor though. I'm saying from the pew, take off like, yo, this woman, she started like cussing him out, telling him he going to hell, he the demon. I swear to you, bro. I swear, I told you. I think I told you about her before.
You ever told me about that one.
And like she started approaching them, and she just started yelling crazy. She had been coming to the church for years, but everybody knew she was a little off in the head, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody was like, bro, she was crazy. She was, you could tell people like. And then next thing you know, I ain't see her again till a year later because I was in high school, and she came. She was. You do the yearbook pictures and stuff. She was one of them photographers. Mm-hmm. I said, how the fuck she get this job? She was saying enough to be I'm like, she taking photos of photos? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You never know what people were doing with them, with the steels. Cause they gotta take them steels and go. You know what I mean? Oh, Lord. Then she took my photo. I said, she said, hey, I remember you.
Come on, bro.
I swear I was like, stop. Not me.
Bruh.
Oh, man. With that being said, man, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box down below. You already know where to go if you want to further support. All you got to do is check out down below. Also, every single time we salute to the comment of the day.
Thinking. Salute to you.
Man, we highly appreciate it, man. Keep running us up. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, like it in with a thumbs up, man.
Definitely do that.
Whew. But it be some crazy shit going on, man, in church. Folks be stealing.
Having sex.
In the bathrooms. Ooh. Oh, man.
Crazy.
Hey, and that church choir, they be the freakiest, man.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen with your own eyes happen in church?
A convicted child molester holding a calling with the youth group at my church. And all of us being told that we needed to be loving and Christ-like and show forgiveness and not make him feel bad for what he had done, blah, 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 whatever. Now, in that same year, I had drank coffee and I had been kicked out of the youth group, and all of the parents of the other young women decided that their daughters weren't allowed to hang out with me because of the dark path I would take them on. So the girl that drinks coffee, not good around kids. Child molester, totally fine.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen with your own eyes happen in church? Stitch this video.
When I was 16, my family started going to this new church. It was one of those like new progressive churches that implemented a lot of modern stuff so that it was relatable and, it was like really community based. Something I really loved about the church was there were different baskets during ties. So like a basket for tie, a basket for church rent fund, a basket for scholars. So like if you were going off to college, that would be money to like help support the new scholar on their journey. One day the pastor was like, all right, everybody, I want y'all to put money in this other basket. And I'm going to just give it to one random person today. Everybody put the money in. It was passed around the church. People were putting like hundreds in there. It was like really dope. I think by the end, it was probably like $500. We're all singing, dancing. This man gets up in front of the congregation with the basket and said, and I think I'm going to give it to my wife. And these dumb fucks in the church was like, amen, amen. I was like, yeah, religion is not for me.
What's the
Bruh. But she said he would pass around church. People putting like $100 in it. She said when it was all said and done, it was fine.
I mean, baby, that's better than nothing. But
No,
if it was going,
think about it. She said people were putting $100 in it. But when it was done,
oh, it was like $500.
and
I get what you're saying, but
then the motherfucker had the nerve to say,
I think I'm gonna give it to my wife.
see,
Baby, that's going right back. That's going to
right
how,
in his
what
pocket.
you said.
Right. No.
Crazy.
craziest thing you've ever seen with your own eyes
This
happen
from
in church?
Kale.
So my uncle gets up in front of our church one time and says that he has a prostitute waiting for him when he gets off the plane in every city that he travels to for work. And she is waiting there with a line of blow for him. The story is that his wife either caught him doing it or he confessed to it. But the fact is that she told him that if he did not want her to take the kids and leave, that he would get up in front of the entire church and confess it to everyone. And she sat there stone-faced with her little girls beside her that were old enough to understand and let him do it. And the reason I don't associate with that side of the family anymore is because they're a bunch of fucking hypocrites dressed up like fine Christian people. Because his mother-in-law, the same lady supposed to be my blood grandmother, calls my little girl a bastard and refuses to see her because she was born out of wedlock, and refuses to call her a girl and calls her a boy all the time because her name is a boy name.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen with your own eyes happen in church?
So when I was a kid, my dad got remarried after my mom had died, and he got remarried to this woman who was of Pentecostal faith, and she began to go to a very conservative Haitian Pentecostal church. The type where, the women wear long skirts, even when they're not at church. Like on the weekdays, they never wear pants. They cover their hair. They don't wear jewelry other than a wedding ring. They're painfully religious in that there are just so many restrictions in their lives. And that's who my dad decided he wanted to be with. So the church one day decided to get together. It was the pastor's birthday. And if you go to these types of churches, you know that whenever it's the pastor's birthday or the anniversary of the pastor and his wife or something like that, they go all out financially. The tithings and offerings and gifts are, from here to the moon. And the congregation decided to raise money to buy him a brand new car. They got him an SUV, and from the looks of it, it was very nice. I was very young at the time, but I remember it being a big deal and everybody going outside of the church to go look at this car. And they boasted the fact, that at the time they had spent something like $40,000 on the car, and we're talking like late 90s, so that was a lot. And they all, wanted to celebrate him and embrace him, whatever. Misguided as it was, right? Do you know that maybe a month later, the pastor turned up in the car? My dad happened to be outside because he would always kind of come into church late and leave early and, be reading a book in the car, walking around. So he just so happens to see the pastor drive up to the church in like a used Toyota Camry or something like that, like a older version, right? And he made note of that, and he started to ask around, and he was like, what happened to Pastor's car? Because every Sunday he was seeing him in the hoopty and not in the brand new car that the church had gifted him. Come to find out, Pastor said, the car, was a little much to maneuver, and he sold the car, did not pour that money back into the congregation, or give it back to the parishioners, and then bought the hoopty. Needless to say, my dad thought about being a pastor.
Hey.
Bruh.
Hey.
That's why most people are pastors now, honey. Just for
Maybe I'm in the wrong profession. Just you know what I'm saying? That money a little easy.
just for the money, honey.
All you gotta do is know some words. Literally, if you know some words.
That's sad. But
be honest, like that's all they really. Some don't be knowing. Just
that's all.
There's a lot of people know the Bible, especially the ones who come out of jail. Now they want to be a pastor. Like, yeah, number time on your head. You could have read the motherfucker back and forth in 1 month.
That's crazy.
You gonna know the word. You got number time, bro. And then, bro, don't know pastors or they wives be having jobs. Like, everybody else be going here working, slaving Monday through Friday. And y'all just like, on Sundays, y'all need to be in church all day too. Like, bro, also, I don't get number 1 day of rest. God had 1 day of rest, and it was, well, let me have my Sunday with him.
Come on,
You
bro.
know what I'm saying, bro? It's like, dang, bro.
So this is the craziest thing that's ever happened to me in church, and that's actually why I stopped going. So, one day I'm just going to church, like normal, me and my mom and my sister. I've never told anybody else outside my sister about this story because she was there. She saw the whole thing. But in most churches, they'll call people to the front to like get blessings, to get anointed and all that stuff. So I went to the front to get a blessing. And the pastor, he likes to say words to certain people, like getting blessings, kind of like reading our minds or whatever. And when he got to me, he was like saying in front of everybody, "You're hiding something. There is something you're not telling your family." And this man goes on and on and on talking about, how I'm hiding stuff and how you need to just come out. He literally told me I need to just come out and tell them what's in my mind. My sister pulls 2 and 2 together and she's like, wait a minute. I don't think he did this on purpose, but this man literally outed me in front of my whole family. My mom didn't even peep it though. My sister, she asked me about it right after that. She was like, why are you not telling us? Y'all, when I tell you I was scarred for life from that, but I mean, it did kind of help me come out eventually. So I guess it was crazy, but a good crazy.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen with your own eyes happen in church? Stitch this video and let me.
Okay, this was my own experience. I was like 6 or 7 years old. I used to go to vacation Bible school with my grandmother, and I was running late one time, so I just put on some kulak shorts. And if y'all don't know what that is, just look it up. But I went in, and my my vacation Bible school teacher, pulled me by the ear and told me, I had to go home and change because little girls were not to dress of a man. And she said it was in the Bible. And I said, well, in the Bible times, didn't everybody wear gowns? So how do y'all know who was dressing of a man or not? And because she didn't know the answer to that question, she pushed me out the door and told me don't ever come back.
What?
So yeah.
Never come back.
I know the answer now, but as a 6 or 7 year old kid, that just turned me. I don't want to go to church no more. Y'all hypocrites.
I told you one that scarred me and it made me look at people different. The way my pastor scolded, the lady we both know, and the way he talked to her in front of all of us when we were kids. And I was like, at that age, I was like, for one, she's a woman. For two, you calling and like going at her in front of it was about 50 or 60 kids. And you going at her in front of all these kids. Not only us, the kids, but also the adults. And you like disrespected her to the utmost in front of everybody. Yeah. And I was just like, yo, it's a place and time for everything. And even as a kid, I knew that. I was like, there's a time and place. You could have we walked right past your office. You could have just said, hey, you don't mind, can you come here? Y'all could have had a sensible, grown conversation. You don't just yell at somebody like they your child. She got grown. Yeah. Right. I was like, bro. Yeah. And then every time you turn around, all y'all do is keep talking about money. Like, you in my pockets, fool. Go get a job. You in my pockets. Right. I'm about to tell you to not have a job. Then you driving cars that's better than everybody. You be living in a house that's better than everybody. You got land that's more than everybody. But you want, you know what I'm saying?
I get
you
it.
Get with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's the craziest thing you've ever seen with your own eyes happen in church?
I won't disrespect this pastor or his family because he's gone, but several years ago, I was sitting in a service and a basketball team came in and they were dressed in their sweatsuit uniform, like all identical. And they came in because they just wanted to have prayer before they went to one of their tournaments. Okay. So they sat in the back, and I believe one of the members of the team was a member of the church. They sat in the back, and they were waiting to come up and get prayer. And the pastor made them leave because they were dressed inappropriately. He thought that they were disrespecting the church by coming in their street clothes. Mind you, very clean sweatsuits that were the school colors. And they just wanted to come in for prayer. And he embarrassed them and made them leave because it was street clothes in church.
I'm telling you,
What's the craziest thing you've seen growing up in the church? Stitch this and let me know. All right, buckle up because you're in for a ride. I grew up Pentecostal. I'm talking Church of God Pentecostal. And my mom was the minister of music. My grandfather was the associate pastor. My uncle was on the pastor's council. My stepdad was on the pastor's council and a deacon. We were in church all the time, every time the doors opened.
I know.
So our pastor had a stroke. He was gone. He couldn't come back. We were devastated. So they bring in this new guy. Our church is broken. It's broken in half. Just craziness. Everybody's devastated. They bring in this new guy. We think that he's great. We think everything's going great. And all of a sudden, a few months after he comes in, he starts like poking at my family and starts to remove my family from their acts and from their positions little by little by little by little. And then he starts getting bolder and bolder and bolder with it until my family was pretty much annihilated. And so it was one of my last services there. Actually, it was my last service there. He stood on my grandfather's chair, my grandfather's seat that was on the podium, and stood on it and shouted into the mic, "Worship me, worship me." And jumped off of the seat and over the keyboard piano, and when he jumped over it, gravity took place, God took place, and he was impaled through the chest by a mic stand. Oh. Saw it with my own eyes.
That ain't no shit. You just like, yo. The fuck?
He was up there doing too much though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People be playing.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen with your own eyes happen in church?
Oh, my mama, y'all be thinking that preachers' kids and evangelist churn be acting so holy. Them kids was in vacation Bible school hunching.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen with your own eyes happen in church? Stitch this video and let me.
Oh, definitely the 4th of July pageants. I grew up in Liberty Baptist Church in a sundown town in the middle of cornfields in the Midwest. We had 5 red, white, and blue school buses in our parking lot to pick up children all around town. I shit you not. One of the deacons in the church would dress up as Uncle Sam, and he would run up and down the aisles singing and dancing. My mother sang this, obnoxious 50 States song, because I guess God gave us 50 states, straight from God. Pure dominionist theology. And what's furthermore is, before I was of age of consent, they would dress me up as a Southern belle. Again, I shit you not. My grandmother made this entire thing, every little ribbon. Nothing surprises.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen with your own eyes happen in church?
My religious dad expects my mom to submit and obey to him. One day, my dad and I were in church, and the pastor was like, how do you expect a woman to submit and obey to you when you don't even love her? My dad stopped taking notes, put everything aside, and gave a little attitude. I was like, ooh.
Give me an item you bought that you were greatly
Still was too fast.
Yeah, I was trying to keep up.
Bruh.
But
I got some more I can speak on, but since
I
family
have some too,
since
so
family
I just-
still go there, I'm gonna keep my mouth closed. I don't go there. They try to make me go back, but due to personal reason, I personally don't want to. Just due to personal reason.
I feel you.
And it's like just years old. But you know what I'm saying?
But you know
with family, you know, you can't tell them that and they be like okay with it, you know.
Yeah.
You said I know your what?
I know. I ain't gonna get on there. That's a whole nother topic.
Oh, you talking about?
Are we at the? We
might
no.
be. We might be.
Okay.
We
well,
might
let's
be.
just move on.
We might be
Okay.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh man. So with that being said,
This is
man,
crazy though.
Yeah. That was just one of the parts. It's 4 parts.
Oh. I'm ready for it though.
Oh no.
I'm ready.
Y'all let us know if y'all want to see more, man. But as always, y'all know how it goes. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is we are.
Gotta go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Gotta stack a flip for my folks. Dollar, 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 dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar, 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 dollar.